So in section 2.2, we looked at the derivative of a function at a point. And now we're going to look at something called the derivative function. And so you may have noticed that for many functions, the slope of the curve changes. Let me draw a parabola here. And in some places, like this point over here, the derivative was negative. Over here, the derivative was positive, so the derivative changes. But for a particular x value, there's a point on the graph, and the tangent line at the point of the graph has only one slope, or in other words, only one derivative. So for every x, there is only one value of the derivative. If that's the case, then we say that that's like a function. For every input, there's exactly one output. And so we use the derivative function as a term to describe the input is an x value and the output is the slope of the curve at that point x. Or another way that we can write that is f prime at x. So last time, in last section, we looked at a parabola, and on that parabola we had, oh, that's a great parabola there. We had a few points that we found the slopes at, I think, at negative 1/2, and at 0, and at 1. And at negative 1/2, I think we had a slope of negative 1, a derivative at negative 1 of negative 1. At 0, x equals 0, we had a slope of 0. And at x equals 1, I believe we calculated the slope was 2. And so I could take these points that I've listed, these x values and y values, and I could plot them. So at negative 1/2, negative 1, 0, 0, and 1, 2, like that. So I could plot those points. And so this is x versus f prime of x, whereas the first one was x and f of x. So these are 3 points on the graph of the derivative function of the function y equals x squared. So here we had the function y equals x squared. I'll say f of x equals x squared. And the question we'll answer today is, so what's an equation for the derivative function? What do we do to the x values here to get the outputs, or the y values, which are in here derivatives? That's what we'll look at today. First, I want you to examine exercise 2.11 on page 40. It's with GeoGebra, and you can work your way through those steps.